Our next speaker is Svetlana Iyer. She earned her bachelor's degree here at Binghamton University in 2001 and a Master of Science in Education in 2003. She's co-founder of Iyer Educational Institutions. Earlier this year at spring commencement, Svetlana was honored with the University Medal, which is the highest honor bestowed here at Binghamton University. She's a certified behavior analyst and special education teacher, and she's going to talk about her work with an organization called Stepping Stone Center in Bangalore, India. This provides assessment and interventions for children with autism and other developmental disabilities. Her talk this afternoon is titled From Disability to Possibility, Using the Science of Behavior to Change the World.
So I have a question for the audience today. How many of you have brushed your teeth this morning? Taken a shower? All right. For the sake of the person sitting next to you, I hope we all have. So you brushed your hair, you had your breakfast, and you generally didn't have much difficulty with that. But even if you did, you probably asked for some help here and there, and you got your work done. If you're sitting here today, I bet you're capable of all of that and more, and that should be celebrated. Congratulations. I'm actually not really interested in your dental hygiene or your eating habits, and I'm not trying to be patronizing. The point that I'm trying to make is that these are the skills that we take for granted all the time. These and other basic life skills like communication, asking for things you need or want, using the bathroom independently and on time, all of the fun things like socializing with friends and using social media for most of us these days. These are the things that make life enjoyable. According to the World Health Organization, however, about 15% of the world's population has a disability of some sort. That's over 1 billion people. Disability is actually an umbrella term for impairments, activity limitations, and participation restrictions. The rates of disability are increasing due to aging populations, an increase in chronic physical and mental health conditions, and still some unanswered reasons. But the point is that from childhood to adulthood, disability is a possibility for all of us. And chances are you have been exposed to the challenges that disability presents either by yourself or through family or a friend. My family and I had relocated to India in 2011, a vibrant, colorful, and warm country. I soon discovered that for a country of 1.3 billion people, Behavior Analysis Certification Board, a governing body for behavior analysts like myself, lists only 4 PCBAs. Hardly enough for the estimated 21 to 195 million people with disabilities. Now, whichever statistic you choose to believe, that is still a lot of people. That's not to say that there were no other professionals. Medical profession is very strong. Speech, occupational, and physical therapies are well established. But for the population with autism, for whom behavior analysis is the best bet to intervention, 4 people felt a bit like bringing a knife to a gunfight. We had 4 BCBAs in just one school district in Connecticut, where I worked before that. Here we had 4 for the entire country. Given my training, it was something my husband and I felt that we had an obligation to do something about. Autism is a serious neurodevelopmental disability, which affects an individual's ability to develop language, social skills, and instead often messes up the sensory system in such a way that the kids are constantly trying to figure out which way is up or down and what's their state of equilibrium. Autism comes from the Greek word auto, meaning self, illustrating the individual's withdrawal into their own world. What's more is that the behavior disorders are often accompanying the diagnosis. Aggression, self-injury, vocal and proprioceptive stereotypies make it very difficult for them to learn from a typical educational environment. Currently, the CDC identifies that 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism in the US. However, some global estimates show a prevalence rate of 1 to 2% of the world population. Even 1% of 1.3 billion people in India is 13 million. That's 1.5 times the entire population of New York City. From conversations that followed, with families of children with autism and other professionals in India, it seemed that the lack of services was not the only barrier they had to obtaining appropriate interventions. Prohibitive costs of services and the financial burden were another. Inadequate skills of many existing professionals and poor accessibility to services that did exist due to heavy traffic and driving distances were precluding thousands of families from getting the help they needed. Moreover, in a society where there are very limited educational or vocational programs for these individuals, it also meant that at least one family member was dedicated to the care of the one with disability. That meant that that person was a permanent caregiver and is out of being a productive member of society, making her and her child, that's usually the mother, usually dependent on the mercy of others. And the implications of this are an increased risk of the physical and mental health of the caregiver. Parents who were once doctors, engineers, college professors were feeling depressed, isolated, and were no longer working. This seems consistent across continents, but we are actually looking at least 2% of population impacted by autism this way, not one. Families desperately needed help and support. So to help fix this problem, my husband and I opened Stepping Stone Center, a school and an intervention center for children with autism and other neurodevelopmental disabilities. We imagined that if we could give these children skills to become more independent, to communicate, and to take care of themselves, to get a job eventually, to be productive and contributing members of society, that would not only help those individuals, their families, but the society at large. A quote from Chen Guangcheng, Chinese civil rights activist, rang a bell. How a society treats its disabled is the true measure of civilization. But we didn't think of this as just a humanitarian issue, of helping people with disability as our charity. No, by working with people with disabilities, we're actually enabling the growth of a country, socially and economically. We were creating new jobs in a niche field. Of all those big reasons, however, it is still the personal, emotional ones that drive me even today. I want to tell you about my first student with autism in India. Yogi was probably the one that changed my trajectory as a professional, and he's the same age as my older daughter, who's now 12. When I met him, he was 5, nonverbal, and could not attend any school. He loved chocolate and chicken and chips and swinging on the swing. He loved to eat butter, plain, and to color with crayons all over the walls. He was hung up, but he couldn't ask for any of it. When I came home, he walked over and plopped himself in my lap. Cute for a 5-year-old, but kids grow into adults, and if they still do this, not so cute anymore. As a behavior analyst, I'm trained to view everything we do as a behavior. Sitting quietly during a conference, opening a door when the bell rings, making eye contact, writing 4 when seeing 2 + 2, these are all behaviors that have been reinforced in a way that matter to us, which is why we tend to repeat them. They got us what we wanted. Speech is a production of sound as a result of fine motor movement of our articulators, which are behaviors learned through reinforcement. Sounds we made as babies have been reinforced by our family and are selected to be used again. That's why French children speak French, Chinese children speak Chinese, and I speak neither one of those. Speech, or speaking, is a behavior that we started with Yogi. We started training him to speak, to ask for chocolate, chicken, hugs, and butter. When motivation was high, we prompted him to echo words of things he wanted, then gave them to him to establish the association. I say, I get. I ask, I speak, and good stuff happens. We taught him to work for the opportunity to ask for those items. We taught him to label things in his environment, to sit, to complete puzzles, to sort things by feature and function. He was beginning to read. He learned everything fast, except to label people. He would struggle when asked, who is this? He would confuse his brother, mother, father, me. The day that Yogi answered correctly, Amma, which is a word for mom, when he was asked, who is this, while I was pointing to his mother, his mom and I broke into tears. We cheered, We jumped, we danced like Dora the Explorer, singing, "We did it, we did it," and in the process completely freaked me out. Can you imagine what this kid was thinking? These people are trying to teach me something? They're crazy. But that was a breakthrough moment. There are dozens of kids like this in Stepping Stone Center who started as completely dependent, nonverbal, and unaware of their surroundings, now singing at events, having their own exhibits of art they made, or simply going to school with real friends. Turning disability into productivity is incredibly rewarding, and that is why I do this job. I'm fortunate to have 2 healthy daughters, and I can't imagine waiting for 5 or 10 years for my children to call me mom for the first time. We all want our children to do the best, to have the best opportunities. We want them to grow, to learn, and to be successful. Maria Montessori said, "A child's work is to create the man he will become," or in today's world, a man or a woman she or he will become. Our job as educators, however, should be to help them do it to the best of their potential, regardless of ability. To me, it is not just a job, it's a responsibility. And ABA is the science of applied behavior analysis. It is my tool to help get that job done. After 7 years of its existence, Stepping Stone Center now employs over 50 people, provides direct and affordable services to over 120 yogis on an annual basis, and has graduated over a dozen students who are now in general education setting where they are indistinguishable from their peers. We developed KidSmart, an online early screening tool for detection of developmental delays, our version of Childline, which hundreds of parents have used to date. We have developed our own Montessori inclusive preschool and collaborate with other schools to transition children from intensive interventions to less restrictive settings. But that is not enough. There's a limit to how much we can do ourselves. However, if we can get more professionals on the ground, more families can get accessible services all across the country, not just in Bangalore. ABA is a science that helps us understand how we learn behavior and how to change it. Unfortunately, till date, there is not a single university in India that provides ABA training in the menu of subjects for students to choose from, or for the interested professionals to get training to be able to obtain it. Fortunately for Stepping Stones, this is the matter for which our alma mater, Binghamton, stepped in to help. The Institute of Child Development, with the support of Dr. Romanchik and Dr. Gillis Madsen, provided valuable guidance, time, and resources to help us develop training necessary to better equip paraprofessionals in our field in India. Stepping Stone Center has developed an ongoing relationship with Binghamton University to engage in research collaborations with Indian institutions and universities in order to expand professional development opportunities for interested professionals, culminating in the BCS Annual International Conference on research, treatment, and education for children with developmental disabilities. You're all welcome to attend our 2nd annual conference this December in Bangalore. At this point, we have trained hundreds of paraprofessionals and parents in the practical applications of ABA procedures with tangible outcomes for the children we serve. Still a drop in the bucket, but it is progress. While the problem of accessibility to services and training persists, to ameliorate this, Stepping Stone Center is going digital. There may not be enough brick and mortar locations that we can create, but everyone who is out of diapers in India now has a smartphone. And internet is widely accessible, and a massive digital revolution is paving the way for change in the future of education. Stepping Stone's Learning Institute is the new frontier. By leveraging technology, we aim to provide a comprehensive array of educational solutions to families, educators, and professionals in the field of disability services, regardless of where they live. Training 100 professionals impacts 1,000 students, but giving access to training to 100,000 parents and practitioners, we can impact 1 million children. Now that is an exciting proposition. We have now partnered with College of St. Elizabeth in New Jersey to bring affordable online certification level training for prospective behavior analysts in India. 2 have started their training this fall, 8 are slated to start in the spring, and we hope hundreds will soon join the behavior analytic tribe. I truly believe that with time and a joint effort, we can all really make a difference, not only in our professional endeavors, but in the world. I want to thank you for listening to this presentation today and encourage you to learn more about autism as it is a growing concern globally, and to support dissemination of science and evidence-based interventions, because that is what can take a person, a family, or a society from disability to possibility. Thank you.